morning and welcome to the Wall Street Pub and Grill for the Gary Goff Show. We're here every Wednesday night, 6:30 p.m. talking Tiffin University and Tiffin University football. I'm Russ Snyder, voice of the Dragons, here with you alongside the winningest coach in Tiffin University football program history. Congratulations, Coach, on your big win last Saturday.
Thank you, I appreciate it.
It was a big win last Saturday. The only matchup last weekend of ranked teams, and it happened right here in Tiffin, Ohio at Frost Cownow Stadium. And there's a lot to talk about this game. I mean, you could talk about the weather. It ended up not being as big of a factor during the game as we were expecting. I felt bad for the band when they would have to play the national anthem, and they were the only ones out there in that little pregame storm let loose. But two really good football teams got together on Saturday. We'll talk about that game. We'll preview this week's road game against Lake Erie. Then we also have a student athlete and a coach on the show today. Zach Goecke is going to join us, as well as Coach Allgood. So we got all kinds of stuff to talk about here. And we mentioned it, Coach. It was a interesting game on Saturday. 24-23, the block extra point at the end of the game. Jacob Williams gets his hands on it. He earns himself Conference Defensive Player of the Week, and he didn't even lead your team in tackles. The guy you're going to have on tonight led you in tackles.
Well, it lived up to all the hype. You know, as coaches, we don't like those nail-biters like that. But, you know, we were the only top 25 matchup of the week, and it came all the way down to the last play of the game. And, you know, we talked to the guys all week about that. It was going to take four quarters. We were playing a very good football team in Ohio Dominican, and it turned out that way, even though early on we had some success and thought things were going our way, and it might be easier than we expected, but it never is.
Yeah, well, there's some great plays on the defensive side. Dijon Isbell with the big play on fourth down in the fourth quarter. I think there was around 5 minutes, maybe a little less, to go in the ball game, and you guys did that. And that was the defensive play of the season for my money so far, just because of the time, the opponent, and what a great call by your defensive coaching staff to blitz on that play.
Absolutely. I mean, I thought both sides handled the game perfectly. You know, there's always things you look back and question, but, you know, I thought the way we managed the game at the end was necessary. You know, they had all three timeouts, and we had the ball. We had to get the clock running, and trust me, we wanted to throw the ball in that situation because of what they were giving us defensively, but, you know, it didn't make sense, you know, because if it was incomplete and stopped the clock, then they had time to drive there at the end, and they're a high-powered offense. In a lot of ways, we were playing ourselves. You know, we were looking in the mirror.
Yeah, it was, their young quarterback, his name's escaping me right now, but we'll talk about him a little bit. Really good player, redshirt freshman from Cincinnati Moore High School. Evan Ernst is his name. Had a really good game. There's a couple of really talented wide receivers on the outside, but I thought your guys' secondary did a really good job of, you didn't shut them down, but you definitely contained them on Saturday.
Well, it's funny, you know, at the beginning of the game, we've got an alumni, I won't call any names, that son plays for Ohio Dominican right now, and, you know, before the game, he said, hey, Coach, you know, we got some really good receivers. You're going to have to handle our receivers. I said, well, we got a good secondary, and we got some really good receivers, too. I said, so we'll see what happens, you know. But, yeah, like I said, we knew we were going to have to make plays to stay in the game because I think they've been averaging, you know, 34 points a game all season up to that point. So, you know, we had our hands full, but we knew that. And I would like to think they were in the same boat. They were going to have their hands full with us as well.
Then they absolutely did have their hands full with you. Let's go ahead and take a look at the ball game. You know, opening kickoff of the game, that had to grab your attention right away because they brought it out near midfield, ended up working into a field goal after going 6 plays, 45 yards at 2:44. Joe Quackenbush, good field goal kicker for them at a 23-yard field goal. But, yeah, the opening return, and they have I mentioned it in the pregame show. I think they led the conference in both punt return and kickoff return average, so you knew that was a weapon that they had.
Well, and then you factor in the wind. You know, we had 22-mile-an-hour winds and some wind gusts up above that. And, you know, I knew the kicking game was going to be in for a long day. When we were coming out of the locker room, like you said, the band was out there playing when the storm was early on, and our inflatable dragon was almost up in the air, and about 20 people were going to fly off with it. So
it was almost like a Benny Hill scene from the press box, watching those young men try to handle that dragon. It was funny up there.
So I knew the kicking game would be a little bit difficult, and, you know, right there the ball hung up a little bit, and they got a great return to start this game off right there at midfield.
Well, you know, you talk about the kicking game being, you know, a bit of an issue. The first quarter scoring was 2 field goals. You know, the Dragons answered to 3 from Ohio Dominican. Joe Harakal coming in and doing a job for your kicking program now, a 25-yard field goal. 13 plays, 71 yards, 624. I'm sure you'd like to have 7, but if nothing else, you play 15 minutes, we're all square. Let's go play a 3-quarter football game.
Yeah, absolutely. We knew it was going to be a back-and-forth game. You know, we missed a chance to get 7 on the board right there, which happens. But, you know, AJ came in, and that was Harkle kicked that one, kicked that one, and did a great job putting it through uprights.
In the second quarter, the Dragons score first. The only running back in the conference averaging plus 100 yards a game. Kyle Brunson now just over 103, had another big game for you. I think he went for $130 if I remember correctly. He goes in from 1 yard out, a 6-play, 67-yard drive, taking 3:11 off the clock. And this time it was A.J. Nikolai with the extra point. Now the Dragons have a lead.
Yeah, great drive right there. We've talked about Kyle Brunson week in, week out, but really been the backbone of that offense and been a big reason why we can throw the ball downfield. But great drive capped off with him finding the end zone.
And then Nick Watson, a little bit more action on the ground this week, had a big run, 30-yard right up the gut. It was a fantastic play, a 9-play, 81-yard drive, great drive, taking 4.5 off the clock. And after that 30-yard touchdown runs, you've stretched your lead out to 17-3, and this one's coming after the halftime break.
Right. Again, another great drive, and then capped off by just a great run by Nick. And it reminded me a lot of Michigan Tech back in 2016 when Pipkin, same play, scored to ice the game against them. But unfortunately, that was not us icing the game right there. We still had a quarter and a half to play. But a really good job by the offensive line creating that crease right there, and Nick, doing the rest.
You can credit your Dragon team for building that lead and being able to hold on to it. We also got to credit Ohio Dominican for fighting back. They fell down by 2 touchdowns there, and there was no quitting that team. They did fight back, and they got the next touchdown, Wyatt McLeod, a 3-yard pass from the before-mentioned Evan Ernst, a 3-play, 52-yard drive going to $102, and it's now within a touchdown.
Yeah, our defense been playing great, and they really pulled out a trick play right there. That was a reverse pass.
Yes.
We had the pass covered right there. We missed a tackle up front, and Contini's a great receiver, a very fast and strong runner, and he ran it all the way down. We got him down at the 3-yard line, and next play they put it in. But that's a play we'd love to have back. But at the same time, it was a trick play right there to kind of get them back in the game.
And all it did was get them within 7. At the end of the day, after that play, it was a trick play. That got them within 7. And then your Dragons come back and score another third-quarter touchdown. Again, it's Kyle Brunson going in from 1 yard out. 9 plays, 75-yard drive, taking 4.5 off the clock, and you've extended back to that 2-touchdown lead. Yeah,
drive right there was kind of set up by a big throw and catch from Nick to Charles Holland, and he got Charles down the 1 yard line right there, and then KB showed his vertical, went over top the offensive lineman right there, and got the easy score for us. But again, still right there, it's like we're in control of the game. Offense was moving up and down the field, defense was getting stopped, so right there everything's still pretty calm, but the storm was still coming.
Yeah, well, that was probably my favorite call of the game, because I'm a Chicago Bears fan because of Walter Payton. So when he went up in the air on the call, I'm like, Walter Payton style, put on your kangaroos and celebrate that Dragon touchdown. So it was fun to see. It was a fun play. So after 3 quarters of play, the Dragons have a 24-10 lead. But here come the Panthers. 13:33 left in the fourth quarter. Devonair Conley, a 8-yard pass from Evan Ernst. The kick was good. 6 plays, 66 yards, and $1.50. They got it done quick. Got the quick early score at the start of the fourth quarter. Still a lot of football left to play, and now it's only a 1-score game.
That's a drive their receivers as a core kind of stood out to me.
Yeah,
they made some big catches right there. Our DBs were in position. They had their hands on the ball, and sometimes those 50-50 balls, you never know. But that was a good drive by ODU. We missed a couple opportunities right there, but kind of got them back in the game.
Well, as we mentioned earlier, later on in the fourth quarter, Ohio Dominican is driving, and they have a 4th and 1 somewhere right around the Dragon 30, 35-yard line. And they go for it. We mentioned that blitz call, and you blitz, you get the stop, you get the ball back. Exchange of possessions. They pin you deep at the 1 yard line. Fumble in the end zone. They pounce on it to get it to within 1 point game. There's only 3.5 minutes left to go. The opposite end of the press box was going batty. They were having the time of their lives. And then the extra point comes, and your GMAC Defensive Player of the Week gets his hand on it and blocks it to preserve a 1 point win.
Yeah, there's a lot of stuff going on right there. I think we were a little shell-shocked, to be honest. Yeah. And I think all 3 phases of the game, I talked to a couple of players this week, and they, Coach, I don't know what happened. I just heard him score, and it kind of just threw us all in a little bit of a panic. But with that being said, I did kind of have a proud moment right there. I'm trying to get everybody on the sideline to, hey, calm down, and trying to calm myself down. And, Nick Watson comes off the field and says, hey, we're fine, guys, we're fine. We got to score anyway. We got 3 minutes on the clock. We're going to be just fine. So that was, reassuring right there. You got a young man's on in his second year playing for us, and was really trying to calm everybody down. But, we still had a whole lot of football left. But, So they score a touchdown, and if you watch the film, and our Jacob Williams made this comment later, but if you watch the film, he runs on the field kind of late. His helmet's, he can't get it buckled. You see the official help him get it buckled.
Yeah.
He gets in his stance the moment the ball's being snapped, and he said, I just went through my head. I got to try to get this somehow. He goes, I didn't even really think about blocking it until right that split second. As a coach, we're sitting there going, what do you mean? Touchdown, you got to be ready.
Right.
But boy, he made a great block right there. It came off the long edge, which is very difficult to do. I think he launched himself after his third step, and he's a long guy anyway, and got his hands on the ball. And you're right. So ODU went from celebrating, have a lot of noise, to now our sidelines is celebrating with a lot of noise. So.
Well, the press box as well. I texted you after the game and told you. Everybody else in the press box told me that they never seen me jump so high. I was off my feet, jumping up and down into that block, and I guess that play right there, coaches all over the place could use that as a reason why you'd never take a play off, not even on special.
Oh, absolutely. And and Jacob, and with a lot of others, really had a great game. I mean, he was competing all night long.
3 pass breakups, I think. So.
Yep. So.
And then you look at the stats. The team stats are almost identical between the two.
They are identical.
Yeah, one play difference. I mean, the yards per play is like 2.2 difference.
And it was like that going into the game. We talked. Right. We were tied in the country, 13 turnover margin, and everything's identical.
When I looked at the pregame, good and ready for the game last Saturday, it was amazing how much you guys were similar, and it showed up on the field. And Evan Ertz, we mentioned him, the young quarterback freshman, goes 29 for 40, 265, and a couple touchdowns. Nick Watson did not find the end zone through the air, but he didn't turn the football over either. He goes 19 for 26 for 213. As we mentioned, Kyle Brunson, 30 carries for 113, 2 touchdowns. Then Nick having his best game of the season on his feet, 5 carries, 43 yards, and got himself in the end zone as well. And Tyler Rice did a good job of spelling Kyle. Didn't get a lot of carries, got 8 carries, still got you 28 yards, and those were good yards when Kyle needed a blow.
Yeah, and it was exactly how we wanted the game to play out. Just because all week we saw it was going to be 100% chance of rain. We saw we could have wind gusts up to 40. It's not going to really deter us from throwing the ball, but we're also going to play smart too. We're not going to continue to throw it downfield like we have all season in those kind of conditions. And we've got a very, I'd say, dominant run game. I mean, we got 3 really good backs. Our offensive line has been moving a lot of people up front. So why not lean on the run game in that kind of situation?
The run game, as you mentioned, the offensive line. We're going to talk to somebody who works with the offensive line here in just a little bit. Charles Allen led you receiving, 8 catches, 77 yards. Victor Talley had 3 for 72, and Tyler Detton 7 for 56. And Tyler seemed like some of the catches he was getting was catches when you really needed a catch and when you needed a play done, and Tyler was coming through for
Tyler's been clutch for us. And Tyler does a great job with the football in his hands. I mean, when he catches the ball, he gets vertical and in a hurry, which makes him a threat. So I really like the way he's playing.
How you doing tonight, Zach?
Good. How are you?
I'm doing well. Thanks for joining us here on the program. And I have to mention, I told Coach Goff that I was getting it's crazy he invited you on because I was getting a message from your brother during the game on Saturday. Telling me he's thanking us for the coverage and everything, how happy he was to be able to watch his brother and his TU boys play. So it's just funny that you were on the program tonight. I was going to talk about your older brother, but how you doing?
I'm good. Good. Glad to be here.
So let's talk a little bit about what Coach said. You came here with the idea of being a running back.
Yep.
And then you transitioned to the defensive side. Was it a coach's move, or was it a point of view saying, I want to hit instead of get hit? How did it go down?
I think one of our coaches went up to me and was like, hey, do you want to try to go on the defensive side of the ball? And initially I was at safety at first. And then I moved again from safety and came down in the box, played linebacker.
What do you like better? You like the safety position, you like the linebacker? I'm sure there's a lot more contact for you than linebackers. You seem like the kind of guy that's not going to shy away from getting his nose dirty and make some contact.
Yeah, definitely linebacker. I like it a lot.
What is it about it? What is it about the position that you enjoy playing?
You're in the box, so you're hitting people every play. You're seeing everything. You're in the run game, but you're also in the pass game. So you're actually doing a lot more.
And now you're kind of a seasoned veteran now here on the squad. Been here for a few years. Have you taken a leadership role? A lot of times on the defensive side, it's the linebackers who become the leaders on the defensive side. Have you kind of accepted that role?
What I noticed this year was different from my past years. I got a lot of talking more. I got to talk. Run with the ones on the defensive side of the ball. You notice there's something like you have to talk and you have to talk and you have to lead at the linebacker position because you're controlling linemen in front of you, but you're also communicating with the defensive backs in the backfield. So,
Coach, how important is that communication on the field and having people you can rely on to make sure the communication?
Oh, the linebackers, they're the quarterback on that side of the ball. They got to communicate and get people lined up right and make their checks and everything. So it's extremely important. And he's been playing alongside a young man, Jacob Murders, who's pretty good at that for the last several years. So Goecke's stepped right in and picked up on that. And I tell you what, we haven't missed a beat.
11 tackles on Saturday. Led the team. It's by far your highest total of the season. What was it about Saturday to allow you to make so many plays?
I don't know if it was anything about me personally, but I think guys around me set me up for success a lot of times. So my defensive line filled the right gap, and fortunately I was right there to make the play.
Well, we'll talk about that, Debo. Go ahead, Coach.
I was going to say, sounds like a veteran, right?
Yeah.
He's going to reward his defensive line. Smart man.
The defensive line, incredibly important. Both sides of the football, the defensive and offensive side, the Dragons have been fantastic this year. Talk a little bit about that defensive line as a group and the work they're putting in.
Defensive line, tremendous job all season long. For me and other linebackers, they make it easy. They're big, physical guys, so they can move offensive linemen, so it's nice. But when they get going, they can have a lot of success up front.
Well, those are the guys in front of you. The guys behind you, I'm sure you look at that secondary, very talented secondary here in the Dragon football team, and know that those guys are going to get their job done. Probably makes it a little bit easier for you playing that linebacker spot, knowing that those guys back there, you don't have to worry about it.
Absolutely. Every play I get word from our safeties or from our corners. They're always communicating formation, plays, whatnot, but they're always talking to me, which makes everything simple for me.
What about that block extra point? What about the block extra point?
It's funny because one of my buddies was across from me. One of my high school buddies was playing for ODU, so he was across from me. So we were talking before the play, and I shot my gap right in front of him inside, so he took me. So I knew Jake would be free going off the outside if he went. So I'm glad. Obviously, he got the block, so that was a good play for us.
That was what was kind of weird about ODU. I mean, we recruit the Columbus area hard, obviously, and we recruit against them all throughout the state, but a lot of our players know a lot of their players. So there was a lot of conversation I'm learning during that game.
I believe it. I believe that 100%. All right, undefeated team right now. Take a look back at where you were when you got here on campus and where this team has gotten to. Talk about the growth in the football program as a whole.
Growth of the football program. Honestly, my freshman year I came in, we had a lot of talent. I think we went 8-3 my first year here, which I look back and I see a lot of similarities between this team and that team.
Okay.
A lot of leaders that step up and make big plays in big moments. I think that showed this past week with ODU.
Yeah.
Well, his family's been here for it all. Because Derek, his older brother, played for us as well, and Derek was here for the beginning and the changing of the culture and everything. And his parents have witnessed all of it. So.
Yeah, I think I met your parents when he checked in from when he first got here, so I've had a chance to say hello to them quite a few times. We got a few more games left too. You got Lake Erie on the schedule this Saturday. What's you looking forward to the most about this Saturday? Besides getting on the field with your guys.
Get on the field, of course, but not looking over these guys. A lot of teams, their record doesn't really show their talent. They're very talented on the offensive side of the ball. They make plays. We were watching film against Hillsdale and Findlay. They were moving the ball down the field, so our defense has to step up and make plays this weekend.
Well, the quarterback throws the ball more than anybody else in the conference. I think he has the most attempts right now in the conference, and he likes to do a lot of things on the ground with his legs as well. Let's talk a little bit about the recruiting process that brought you here. We're familiar with Tiffany University, with your brother getting here. What was it that made you decide to come and be a Dragon? Besides to beat up on your brother in practice.
My brother had to do a lot with it, but I think it was just having him here and just showing me around, showing me the ropes, and introducing me to guys like the summer before I actually, my first year on campus. I was here for a little bit of the summer and just got to know the guys real well, and that really drew me into and that family feeling that you get.
Do you truly look at these guys, your teammates, as your family, as your buddies, as your friends, some guys that you'll be friends with for the rest of your life?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that one of the things you love the most about playing football?
Yeah, the brotherhood, most definitely.
The brotherhood and knocking heads with the other guys with the different colored helmets on, right?
Right.
Look, playing on the defensive side, we mentioned earlier the fourth down blitz when Isabel came around the corner. That was a big stop for your football program. Talk about that when we talked about the block extra point, but on a fourth down, when you get to stop, when you get to come off the field with your guys, know it's a big play, you're getting the football back to your offense. Talk about what that feels like a little bit, how important that is.
It feels great, but especially against the offense of ODU. Like, obviously, they're great offense. So to make a big play with that, it really pulls the momentum towards us, honestly, and gets our offense starting to go. And you can see everybody just having fun on the sideline. Then the offense takes the field, ready, amped up from that fourth down stop.
It's always awesome from the press box to see when the sideline's jumping and bouncing and everything. It's so easy to read the emotion of the sideline by how the student athletes are acting.
Oh, the energy's everything. Yep. I mean, that's one thing we talk about and coach hard is we want to be the most excited team on the field every Saturday. And if we can do that, we put ourselves in a good position, to hopefully get a win. I mean, it doesn't guarantee a win, but it gives you an above-average shot.
What are you studying, Zach? What are you studying here at Tiffin University?
Exercise science.
And what's your plans with the football? When you can't put the pads on anymore, what's your plans after that?
After Tiffin, I think I'm going to take a few visits to a few chiropractic schools.
Oh, all right.
Become a chiropractor.
Well, you need a guinea pig, bud. I'm your man right here. I got some lower back stuff going on.
Oh, yeah. They've done a great job. It's been a great season. I mean, anytime you're winning a lot of games, it makes it pretty fun. But I think the best part up front, it's been continuous improvement every week. And going into the season, you never know how it's going to go. But the guys, they know what they're good at, and we kind of know where they're good at, and we've gotten better in those areas, and where we've been kind of weak at, we've got a lot better in those as well. So it's been constant improvement week in and week out, which has been great.
What's your second year here, right?
Second year, yes.
Talk about what spot's the biggest growth that you've seen from last year to this year with your group?
I think the group being a more cohesive unit and being able to the communication that they've got to do, and a lot of that was me getting to know them getting to know me, and kind of falling in line with each other. I think over the last year and a half that I've been here, we've grown a lot in that area, and the guys kind of they know how to take their jabs at me. We have a pretty good time, pretty good relationship, and I feel like I know how to get quite a bit out of them as well, so it's been pretty good.
Seems like communication is becoming the theme of tonight's program, doesn't it, Coach?
Yeah, absolutely, and it's a big part of it. You think you got 10 coaches and 150 players, and you all got to be pulling the same direction. That's easier said than done.
Right, and all 11 on the field need to be on the same exact page every single time as well. Let's talk about the depth you have at your offensive line. Luckily, sure, you haven't had to use much of it, but you do have some depth on that offensive line.
Oh, definitely, and it's nice having some younger guys, got some older guys in there, but throughout practice, even on our scout team for the defense, there's guys over there doing a great job. But being able to travel 10 guys that I feel great with, being able to put in there and get reps and go against each other in practice, even it's been great. And those guys push each other, and that's a big part of why I think the line has been improving, is because they're pushing each other within the unit. We've got high expectations of the unit, and that's within. There's been a lot of leadership there and leadership growth. So I think all of that combined has been why we've been able to play like we have.
Well, we're starting to reap the benefits of us not having to sign a signing class and bring him in here and play him as a freshman. Right. We've got 4 guys that are playing for us right now that have redshirted, and some of them in their 5th year, and some of them their redshirt sophomore year. So, I mean, he's sitting right here in front of me, not to make fun of him by no means, but when Jeremiah Campbell, when we signed him and got him here, he was tall. He was tall and very skinny. Now he's tall and got some good size to him. He's worked hard in the weight room. So, I think we're playing better at that position because, we're able to bring him in and develop him and not have to play him right off the bat.
It's great. We've been doing this too long now, because you went right where I was going to go next, is that our depth we have now is a product of the depth we didn't have. With these guys getting on their field, it's just a kind of, the yin and the yang of it, how everything kind of works itself around. And you mentioned practice as well. Talk about we talk about everything up front, offensive, defensive line. Defensive line's very talented over here with us as well. Talk about the work that they make your guys put in by the work they're putting in.
Oh yeah, which Coach Stalker's sitting over here. I ask him every day almost, can we get together? Can we get together? Because going up against those guys every day, it makes us a lot better. And I hope that does the same for them, but always trying to get reps against those guys because they show such a good look. And it's definitely, they don't make it easy on my guys. And so it shows us where we've got to get better, and so we can work on it throughout practice in the weeks ahead. So it's a great look with those defensive guys, and whether it's one-on-one pass rush or going against them in team situations, it's it's a great look, and I think it benefits both sides for sure.
It's great to have kids on both sides that embrace the challenge. Instead of shining around, I don't work that hard in practice. What's this guy going so hard for? No, give me what you got, because I'm going to go out to give you what I got.
Well, put it this way, every spring, when it ends and every camp ends, I'm so glad I don't have to see our defense anymore. I'm just tired of seeing the defensive line.
Right, yeah.
They're a solid unit, and it's tough to go against those guys every day.
No question. And I know those guys have fun against it too. They always call each other out, and offensive, defensive guys trying to get reps against each other to see who's going to win. So
week-long
they have a lot of
bragging
fun
rights.
with it too.
Yeah, week-long bragging rights, absolutely. Tell us how this relationship got together. How did you guys get together? How did you end up on your staff, Coach?
Well, when I was looking for an O-line coach, I called people I've worked with or know, and I'm friends with Bill Beatenbow, who's the offensive line coach at Oklahoma. So I called all the air raid family members I have looking for a guy that's kind of used to our offense. So I actually called Bill over there, spoke to him a little bit. Lincoln Riley gave me a call and said, "Hey, you got to interview him. You got to interview him." You know, so it's kind of funny. They were begging me to interview him, but I'm like, I promise you I will. I'll listen to you.
Right.
But we did. So interviewed him, and he was a no-brainer, and the rest is kind of history.
How have you enjoyed your time so far here in Tiffin? Have you enjoyed the community, not only the university, but have you had a chance to explore, Tiffin and the surrounding areas?
Yes. My wife and I moved up here right away and had a great time in the community. Not only the school, which she works at the school now, and so the school's been great to us, but the community, the area, we had never really been to Ohio even, so we've gotten around as much as we could to experience as much of the community and the area as we have been able to, and it's been great.
I'll call him if it's not football season. Hey, what are y'all doing this weekend? Oh, we're already gone. We're at this place up here in Ohio, or we're at Put in Bay. I'm like, you guys are on the move always.
Hey, if it's there for you to enjoy, why not take advantage of it, right?
For sure.
Let's talk about this Saturday. Lake Erie team, as Zach said, better than what the numbers say.
Right.
They'd like to put the ball up in the air. Talk a little bit about what they do on defense that your offensive line will face this week.
Right. Well, I think up front is the best part of their defense, which they've got a very solid defense, but my guys are always up for a good challenge, and I think part of the reason we've had a lot of progress throughout the season is we spend so much time working on ourselves, grading these guys and being pretty intense on how I'm grading them and what we're looking at week in and week out. It's always about us and the guys that we're going to go against. I feel like as long as my guys take care of their business and do what they're supposed to, we should be okay, but we haven't been perfect yet, and so that's always our goal, and they have high expectations as well, so it's going to be a challenge, and but we enjoy that, and it's as much of a challenge for us to play our best as it is to play better than the guys across from us.
Right. How did your group grade out after on last Saturday?
They've been, like I said, they've been consistently getting better, and that's something that's been tough. But the last few weeks, I've had some of the highest grades that I've had since I've been coaching.
Excellent.
So it's continuous, and they keep getting better. And they're getting upset that even though they've got higher grades than they've had since I've been here, they want higher. And so if it's not perfect, then they're not happy with it, and that's kind of exciting on my end.
Oh, that's what you want, right? Reach for perfection. 99 is not good enough. I need 100.
Well, we hadn't had any 99s.
Well,
but I laugh. I hear him come in and talking to him. Well, what was wrong with this play? Well, you just didn't take the right step. Well, I got my block. Well, yeah, but you didn't take your right step, and I gave you credit for making the block, but not perfect. It means something that they care, and they, like he said, they want to get better. With every practice and every game.
Well, we was talking to Zach Goecke earlier about his brother messaging me. Logan Schneider on your offensive line. I get messages from his family all the time during games.
That's just Logan.
Is that just Logan? I mean, how cool is that, though, to have? That's one of the beauties of sometimes of a school like Tiffin University, a program like this. These families get involved to a point where they just want to reach out sometimes and just say, hey, thanks for what you're doing, or we're watching the game, we're listening to you, that kind of stuff. It's pretty cool. I see it all the time. I'm sure you guys see it a lot more.
Definitely. And being at a few different places, I've coached at every level. I think D2 in Tiffin the relationships that you are able to build at this level, it's awesome. And the guys on our team, and especially the guys in my unit, the relationships with my guys and their families is awesome. And that's what makes so much of it worth it, is that relationship.
Don't you, at this level, isn't that incredibly important? Don't you have to?
For sure.
Don't you have to embrace that?
Oh, Ron's no different than my other coaches.
Right.
I mean, he wears a lot of different hats, and like you said, at other levels, you're not in charge of study hall. You're not in charge of helping them, add a class or drop a class. You're just coaching football, and you've got to have a genuine like of your players. They got to trust you. You got to trust them. They got to work hard, and it's just different. It's a different atmosphere.
It's truly being a mentor. I mean, it's not just being a coach; it's being a mentor. Like, you're wearing the hat also of I was at the wrestling dedication earlier, and Joey Simcoe was talking about being a coach. You wear the hat of a psychiatrist, a brother, a dad, but all these different things. And because every player's got a different personality, and you got to be able to make sure that you get the best out of each and every one of those kids and those personalities. So it's hard to be the coach.
No question.